Hi there, it's Jane. I hope you're doing fabulous. I am late to the party as usual with these amazing Anita Jeram stamps. Whenever I go to order them, they are completely out of stock, but I finally got mine in. I love the images and I love the way we color them in. It's very illustrator type coloring, so there's no blending. There is a mix of Copic coloring here. I also did some zig markers because I wanted to show you how that all worked out as well. And I have a couple of Valentine cards that don't even have red in them. I just thought, well, whoa, how weird is that? So here's the 5 that I made, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So let's get started. I think they are so very fun. So last year, Colorado Craft and Anita Jeram came out with a collaboration with about 20 different stamps, and these are the Valentines. The mice and the rabbits are absolutely amazing. This is the Evernote stamp set. I really wasn't familiar with Anita Jeram, and she is an amazing illustrator, and she has a great book if you want to check it out if you've got little ones. Another thing I love about these stamp sets is the packaging Anita has colored in some images. So if you're really not sure what to do, you just go to the package and copy, which is exactly what I did because I am not an artist whatsoever. And again, I love the fact that you don't have to blend. There's no ink blending here whatsoever. You lay down your color. There is a hard line between the light and the dark, and that is the intent of the illustrations. If you look, that's exactly what Anita does on all of them, and that's what she does in her books as well. Well, I'm late to the party because Valentine's Day is around the corner and I need to just get going, and I wanted to make some quick and easy Valentine cards because I got a lot to get out, a lot of people that I love, and it's been a very busy January for me. So this is Nina 110-pound cardstock. I cut everything down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I trimmed them all down to size later on. I just really wasn't sure where I was going with it. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to color everything first, and then we're going to put them into cards later. So I've already laid these 2 mice in my MISTI, and I use the Simon Says Stamp Transparency Grid. Is one of my absolute favorite tools in my craft room. A, it keeps the lines straight, but B, it protects my cardstock if I have a little inky stamp. So I'm not always getting residual ink on my cardstock. So I'm going to I'm going to ink these up with a combination. This one's Hero Arts Intense Black, and this stamp is very dry, and reinkers are out of stock everywhere. So I will switch to a different ink in the middle of the video, and I think it's a Lawn Fawn ink. That's my ink pad is a lot juicier. I'm using this dry erase eraser. It works great just to give even pressure all over the card. I got to stamp this about 3 or 4 times to get even a close to black impression. Otherwise, it's gray. COVID has taken the toll on reinkers as well. So I'm just stamping this up, and I'm happy with that black result. And I'm going to stamp a couple of these on the Nina 110-pound cardstock, because as long as I have the stamps in my MISTI, I might as well just stamp while I'm going on. So I'm going to speed this up at fast speed. These are the Copic markers that I used on this particular card, and very few markers, which I absolutely love. And I just love, again, the fact that these are illustrator type cards and you do not have to blend. So I grabbed the packaging just to make sure I wasn't messing up, like what color should the tails be, what color should the ears be. I did color their feet pink, and you will see that I forgot to color their hands, even though those are feet as well. And I will go back, excuse me, and color the hands as well. I'm dropping down some W1, just no rhyme or reason, just giving it a line, a little shadow. As you can see, I'm making it a little thicker down by their feet, and then I'm putting in a little W3 right here. And then I'll finish this off with W1. I counted, it took 10 minutes to stamp these 2 cards and to color both of these cards. No, that's not true. To color 1 card took 10 minutes. Where, excuse me, I'm sorry, in coloring world, that's really quick. I mean, I love colored images. I just don't want to spend 2 hours coloring a card. I don't know about you, but my family and friends do not really understand how long it takes to make a card, and I do it for me because I love it and it's a stress reliever. But if I'm going to take 2 or 3 hours to make a card and they put it in the trash, well, they probably shouldn't even tell me. Anyway, I like to ground my critters or images to make sure they're not floating in the air. So I'm dropping down a little W1, W3. There is no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing there. Just dropping it and coloring it. Coloring the bow, a little yellow, and adding a little highlight on that bow. And you will see that I will go back and color their hands next time. And there I'm telling you, it takes 10 minutes to color that one card. Actually, I think it took 9. So this is the second one. I wanted to show you that you can get a completely different look if you use different colors. Yeah, here I am coloring their hands. I'm like, oh, feet, hands. So I'm going to color the mice now. I believe I'm using E41 right now. Yes, I am. And I'm really actually trying to emulate what Anita did on hers. She highlighted her mice with a little pink. I'm going to highlight my mouse. I'm like losing my mind today. With a little E43, and again, just illustrator type coloring, and it's just, I just love it. It is so awesome. I think the images is what makes it just so awesome. So I'm going to color the heart the exact same way, and I believe I'm going to put a little blue bow on this heart. And I'm just coloring the whole heart, and then I'm putting some R27 down as the shadow. And I'm just really, the chocolate box, just giving it a big fat shadow there, just so you can have a little definition between the original color and the R24. I'm grabbing my white gel pen and putting a little highlights on the heart box, just like Anita did. I thought they were really cute. I have a hard time with my white gel pen. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. When I push down too hard, the ink does not come out right. If I just touch it a little bit, it comes out really, really even and smooth. I've learned that if I push too hard, the ink does just not come out of your gel pen. So if you have that trouble, just lightly roll it over your surface, and maybe that'll help you out. So we're going to ground this card as well with some W1, little W3, and there's our first 2 cards. Now what I wanted to do is put my sentiments on there. And I grabbed the I love you sentiment out of this particular stamp set. I'm sorry, I was watching myself. Like, how crazy is that? You're sitting there watching yourself. Like, oh my gosh, Jane, get it together. All right, I love the I love you. I just thought that was really cute. Fit right on top of the little mouse. I'm trying to keep everything kind of condensed in an area because I did know that I wanted to cut them down. I got a little ink on my Misty cover, and I did not want to transfer that ink to my card since I'm this far along, so I did wipe it off. And oh my gosh, be still my heart. They are so cute. Look how cute that is. This one I'm going to do Happy Valentine's Day. Stamp that down, and that came out. And there are my 2 cards. Totally different looks, 2 exact same stamp set. So now we're going to try some watercolor paper. Now I love Tim Holt's Distress watercolor paper. It comes pre-cut. There's a smooth side and a rough side. I am stamping on the smooth side for these. I did not want to get that whole watercolor look. I was just really trying to just use some Zig Clean Color real brush markers. Make sure you line up their feet so they look like they're standing on the same ground and they're not, one's not higher than the other. And I'm using my favorite things ink. And these are the zigs that I'm using. I will show you the colors. I'll slow this down just a tad. I'm using green gray. I am using, I believe it's carmine red. I'm using peach pink. And I'm using gray brown. So I'm starting with the pink, and this pink is a little bit darker than I thought it was going to be. I really wanted a lighter pink, and I got a darker pink. So I just went with it because I really didn't want to start all over again. I put a little red in the middle of their ears, and I'm just dropping down the color just like I did with the Copics, and then I'm grabbing my water brush and just kind of brushing it out. Now in watercolor, you do get a really hard line where if you don't fade out your watercolor. So you have to kind of maybe experiment a little bit and see what line you like the best. I did a little playing on, as you can see on the left, to see what look I wanted the best. And I always have a separate piece of cardstock next to me when I'm coloring, just so I can color on that to see if the color is really what I want it to be. I should have done that with the pink, but I didn't. So I just think they came out really, really cute. So I'm coloring the red with the carmine red, I believe is what I said it was. I'm doing the exact same thing as I did the Copics, doing the outline of it, and then I'm taking my water brush and just pulling the color in just a little bit different. And it's a really bright red and it looks really, really cute. When I hit this with my heat tool, because I didn't want to do the bow with the white, with the wet red around it, and I also want to add just a little bit more red in the shadows, just so you did have a little more definition. Watercolor, it's dangerous when you put one wet watercolor against another wet watercolor. They tend to blend in with each other. So I didn't put any water on that. I just colored it down with a zig, and now I'm doing the exact same thing with the ground, cleaning off my brush. I had a little pink on it, and there you go. I will go back and color that bow in a minute. So I love these bunnies. I just love these bunnies and the lots of love. So I just thought that was really cute. So again, I'm grabbing my ink colors. Which ones do I really want to use? Trying to emulate the ones that Anita did, since I'd never colored these bunnies before. So those two colors are pretty much the same. So you'll see what I did. So I grabbed the E50, colored the whole bunny. Also colored his carrot, but I'll fix that in just a sec. Try to color his ears. Again, just trying to do exactly what Anita did. And there's a lot of these Colorado craft images. I mean, there's a St. Patrick's Day one that I hope to get out for you guys that I just adore. There's some amazing Christmas ones. They have ice cream birthdays. My daughter's having a baby, and I want to make some 6x6 of these with the bunnies and the mice and frame them so she can hang them in the baby's room, because I just thought they would be really, really cute for the baby's room. So here I'm back to trying to do the highlights, copying exactly what Anita, well, not exactly, but copying what Anita did. And since I'm not an artist, it's so nice for me to have something to copy. I just am a copier when it comes to coloring, as I'm really clueless on what to do for coloring. So now I need to add a little green, and I wasn't sure how to do it. Should I just do just the little patches of green, or should I color the whole thing green? So I went with coloring the whole bottom green, and then I added a contrasting color, and I just spiked up the grass. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do, but that's what worked for me. So, and I was really happy with the results, and I had a little pink for the flowers, and I just, again, am in love. It's a Valentine's Day card with no red. Like, how weird is that? I'm not even sure. I probably should have put a different stamp on, sentiment on this one that I'm coloring now. It does say Happy Valentine's Day. I could have, had Happy Anniversary. Might have been a little bit more appropriate since there is no red and it ends up being a green card. But my husband won't really care, will he? So again, coloring this around. So back to the baby. So the baby's due in March. It's her first baby. When she first told us that she was pregnant, we were on a Zoom call, and there was 9 of us, and she says, "Oh, I'm so happy all 10 of us are here." And I'm going, 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, there's only 9 of us here. No, I'm really happy that there's 10 of us here. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, we're pregnant. No, you're not pregnant. I mean, my husband and I did not believe them, because she always told us that she never wanted children. And she's been married 3 years, and it's time to have babies, but we never thought she'd have babies. Now, I have 3 other grandchildren that I don't get to see very often, and I never saw them when they were growing up as babies. So I can't wait to hold this baby and buy this baby everything. She has me on standby, and in case her husband has COVID, I'm going to be her birthing coach, so I'm just praying he does not have COVID. And here you go. So now I grab the the stripes and dots. I put a piece of pink cardstock in here, and I'm lining up the stamps on top. I want to make my own background paper. Now, one thing when you make background paper, if you put your stamped image on top, there's a whole bunch of background behind it that we're just hiding with a stamped image. Now, I did not do this today because, well, I forgot. But you can grab a rectangle die, and you can cut out the center of that, and you can keep that background piece for anything like a small stamp set or a little background or an offset on the side or a border or anything like that. So just cut out the center with a rectangle. So I am figuring out where the top of this is. I didn't want, this is not even, this is just very, you know, artistic. So I'm just pushing it up a little bit past that line, trying to keep it straight. You know, I have a 1/2 inch on the right. That's the beauty about the MISTI. Now, if you don't have a MISTI, you can use just a stamping block and just raise it up and line up your block and go for it. You can see mine's got, you know, not even, not exact. Some of the color is darker than the other, and I was perfectly happy with that. So then I grabbed the smaller stripe that is in this stamp set, and I don't know whether it was meant to go inside the other stripes or not, but I didn't really care. I just lined it up, did the exact same thing that I did now with this particular one, and I'm going to use some Lawn Fawn Yeti white pigment ink. I love white pigment ink. So again, marking it, moving it up, losing my mind. Typical Jane. I forget what I ate for breakfast. Do you ever like go into the other room and you're like, huh, what did I come in here for? Or you go say, hey, honey, I want to ask you a question. And he's like, sure. And you're like, well, I have no idea what that question was. Is that happened to you too, or is that just happened to me? Anyway, I love that background. I thought it came out really cute. Now, I swatch all my stamps, and I have swatch downloads available for free on my blog. And I'm going to update them in a couple of weeks. So I will, if you subscribe and you get the downloads, you will get notified when the updates happen. I know a lot of more inks have come out, and it's a lot of work to update the stamp sets. I mean, yeah, the ink sets, and I don't mind doing that. I just need to spend some time doing it. So I grabbed the dots and stripes, and I got an ink color that kind of matched the heart in my card. And again, it doesn't go. You can see in the middle there's 2 dots together rather than dot, stripe, dot, stripe. Again, that didn't bother me. I'm making my own background. I thought it was really fun and cute, and I really wish I would have cut out the center of these for future cards, but I definitely will remember to do that next time, and I'm telling you so that you don't forget either. So I'm trimming them down. I'm not really paying attention to what size they are. I'm just trying to get an idea of what I liked for the size. So I'm trimming that down, and I'm putting it on top of my background. I'm like, no, there's just not enough background showing there. So I'm going to trim it down some more, as you see, and there's a lot more background showing, which I love. I just love the way that came out. So I trimmed the background down to 4 by 5 1/4 because the card is 5.5 by 4 1/4. I just want a little bit of a border showing. I'm using my new Honeybee ink, which I really like. I'm starting to get a good ink collection, and I love all my inks. I just love liquid ink because it just, you can have a little bit of wiggle room. And then I'm using foam to pop up the image, and I don't measure. I just lay it on top and give it a cut. If it's not even, so be it. Now I know if I'm going to make 10 cards and they're all, you know, all the foam is going to be the same size, then I will cut them in my trimmer. But in this particular case, I'm doing 1 card at a time because I'm really not sure what direction I'm going with in my card. So I put something heavy on top to make sure that it dries really quickly and flat. And I also have paper swatches, and I have a whole video on how I do that if you want to check that out as well. And I'm looking at what color is the best for that particular one. And I want to put a little border. I love little borders. I used to work at a framing store, and mats and borders are my thing. I don't measure. I just glue it on there, and I use this trimmer because the silver bar, right where that silver bar is exactly where it's going to cut. So I just cut it right there, and it works out perfectly for me. Pop this on foam again and put this down in the middle of the card. Now, some of the sentiments have like continuation sentiments that go in the middle of the card, which I think is really fun. So I put ink on the background. I put ink on the image and glued them all down at the same time, and put that big heavy block on top of that as well. Cutie, cutie, cutie. So I grabbed my Simon Says Stamp wonky rectangles. This is probably my most used die set of all time. And I love that image, and I just love the way that came out. So I framed that with some green, put some foam on top of that, popped that whole thing on top, and put that on the white card. And there we go. We got your Happy Valentine's Day in green. I don't know what I was thinking. So then I grabbed these, my favorite things, stitched rectangles, I believe is what they are. And I cut out the image that I stamped and then one size bigger just to give a little more dimension. Now, something happened when I stamped this that ours kind of blurred just a little bit. So I grabbed some more watercolor paper. I stamped it down with acrylic block. I cut off the corners because otherwise they were going to hide his whiskers. And I popped that up with foam tape. And actually, this was a happy accident because this card didn't have any dimension. And now it has a little bit of dimension, and I'm very, very happy. I did not put any embellishments or sequins or gems on these. I could have, and I thought about it, and I got them all out. But I just thought I wanted to keep the cards just as simple as I possibly could. So now I'm stamping the inside of the cards because 2 of the cards have a ... sentiment, which I love. I couldn't find my magnet to hold it down. So I'll show you that in a second. So here they are, all finished. Love them. Lots of love, hug, and kisses. Oh my gosh, that is just amazing little animals. Here's the one when I popped up the sentiment because I messed up, and a happy accident. We stamped that border with the stripes and dots. We have this one we did with the Copics. And look at these guys. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. They are quick and easy. I think maybe it took me 2 hours or less than to make all of these cards, which in Stamping World is really, really fast. Go on out and get yourself some Anita Jeram stamps, and happy crafting.